I think VRL Logistics can be held on. See, I think currently from the management commentary, it is very clear that FY23 is going to be a lot better. Overall, post COVID, I think normalcy has set in. And I would not be surprised that in terms of earnings, in terms of revenue, the company should do well. So I think, the investor can give about 6 to 12 months, then I think he could definitely expect a decent risk reward. Prospects for the logistic industry are definitely looking bright, considering that this year GDP is going to grow by 8 to 9%, and this being a economically largely macro driven sector, logistic companies should do well. So I would suggest him to hold on. I think recently, the quarter four numbers which came out from MindTree were definitely positive, not only on the margin but even on the business front. My sense is, I think if they are looking at the next 12 to 18 months, IT is definitely a story which can bounce back. In the very near term, sentiments have become negative largely because of attrition issues. But I think if you see the numbers of MindTree, they were significantly better than frontline companies like Infosys or TCS. So I would believe that despite the fact that the stock has corrected post the Q4 numbers, the management commentary was quite strong. So I think he can definitely average a little more even at the current odd levels, but keep a time frame of at least 12 to 15 months. By that time, I think a decent risk reward could be achievable.
So as for you, Avinash, and Aarti is given 3 stocks. Out of these 3 stocks, she wants to know 2 stocks that she can invest for the longer term. One is Latent View, one is Affle India, and Praj Industries. Which of these 2 counters do you think that one can look to invest right now for the longer term?
Yeah, I think within the 3 stocks, I think Praj Industries looks quite interesting, and Latent View is the second company. I think both these companies have shot up significantly. My sense is that if the investor can obviously look out for any market corrections and use the dip to accumulate these stocks, then I think the next 2 years are going to be extremely promising for both Praj as well as Latent View. Praj, I think, is going to be a big beneficiary of the ethanol story, and which is, I think, clearly reflected in its order book. So I would believe that these 2 companies, she could accumulate in her portfolio, which can give her a kind of a reasonably good risk reward.
Anash, we have a query coming in from Achal Jain. She wants to know, should she be applying for Ionos Solutions OFS, or should she look to buy in the open market? What is it looking fundamentally in terms of this stock for a 1-year period, next 1 year? What could we be seeing in terms of this?
See, I think clearly whenever any company makes an OFS, you see a major price correction. And I think in this case, it's a large block of 15%, and that too at a steep discount to the market price. So I would believe that, I think if the investor is willing enough to give 12 to 15 months, definitely, one could expect a reasonably good reward if she buys from the secondary market. More importantly, just to tell you, the company makes ABS, which is a very premium polymer which only 2 companies in India make. One is Ineos and the second one is Pansali Engineering. So I think, with the auto and the consumer durable sector doing well, definitely prospects for the next 12, 18 months look quite promising. So I think she could buy from the market, but keep a time frame of 12 to 18 months, which is quite reasonable.
Let me take this one then. This one is coming from Sunil G. He's writing to us from Muscat, and he wants an advice on Vinti Organics. He's holding it since the last 10 years. He had purchased about 1,000 shares at a price of 56 rupees per share. Now he wants to know whether he should book profits, hold on to it, or book partial profits. What's your take on this one? Avinash, given that he's a long-term investor and I believe he can continue to hold on to it, but nevertheless, what should his strategy be now with Vinti Organics holding since 10 years at a price of 56 rupees per share?
Yeah, first of all, I think I would like to congratulate him because, this is the kind of compounding which happens in equities if you hold on to equities for a very long period. Coming to Vinti Organics, I think, since his average cost is very low, I think, for him, he's already deep in the money for this investment. I would suggest that he should hold on. My sense is that over the next 2 years, the company has already gone in for another expansion, and the company is a very low leveraged company. So most of the internal accruals have been used for expansion, and typically, the kind of product the company makes, it largely exports to the US markets where demand still continues to be solid. So my sense is that continue to hold on as long as the earnings growth story continues and overall demand prospects continue to be positive. So I think unless he requires money urgently, there's no need for him to book out. Continue to hold on because I believe the next 12 to 18 months should also be equally stronger for the company. I think Cheryl, Tata Power should definitely benefit because recently the kind of deal they did with BlackRock is going to give them a good entry point in the solar and renewable energy space. If the investor is willing to give at least the next 2 years, definitely Tata Power looks well positioned. First of all, good news on the power generation side, they've been able to increase their power tariff prices. And I think in the EV infrastructure and the solar space, I think the company is pretty confident that over the next 2 years, they should be able to build a very significant portfolio. So if you have a 2-year portfolio, definitely buy it on every decline. This is definitely a company which will be a very solid company in the power generation and the electric vehicle infrastructure.
Avinash, I'm going to come to you again. We have a query on Jubilant FoodWorks from Dheeraj Bhagwan. He's bought in 64 shares of Jubilant FoodWorks at 3,300. Now, obviously, with the stock split, his shares are going to become almost 320 shares. So, what should he be doing with Jubilant FoodWorks? Should he be holding it with a long-term view?
My guess is really, post the split, definitely I think liquidity will increase. And I think my guess is that QSR as a consumption story is going pretty strong. We expect that over the next 1 to 2 years, all the players in this segment to do well. Considering the fact that recently Jubilant FoodWorks has also increased its prices, we could expect better numbers. But I think since the stock was richly valued, possibly, I think he'll have to wait for at least next 6 to 12 months to get a reasonable risk reward. But yes, I think if he has a medium-term time frame, he should continue to hold on. Medium to long-term prospects now post-COVID look quite encouraging. Yeah, I think as far as BPCL is concerned, I think the big trigger for the company could come in once the strategic sale is complete. And I think hopefully in FY23 this will be done. There have been a lot of news flows regarding that large MNCs as well as some big Indian groups are planning to make bids here. So I think definitely one can hold on. There's no doubt that as normalcy comes in, the oil marketing companies should do significantly better. The only concern is if crude prices go up, then that could cut into their gross refining margin. So I think for the moment, hold on. The fair value could be around 500 to 550, and I think depending upon the bids which come in when the final bids are opened, the stock could see significant amount of re-rating based on this specific news.
Right. Avinash, we have Srinivasan from Chennai who wants to know about GNFC, whether they should be buying at current price.
Yeah, I think if you have a 12-month horizon, you can definitely buy it. The risk reward would be at. I think you should continue to hold on. I would be quite positive on the stock considering that cycle still continues.
Okay.
Avinash, Purna wants to know on Happiest Mind Technologies, 100 shares they're holding at 1,400. Can they hold or sell?
I think continue to hold on. I think prospect is quite good, considering that they are in the largely